Hey Health Junkies, Dr. Kraus here. Just wanted to jump in and let you know about a new feature that I'm adding to the podcast. It's the ability to ask me questions. I've had a ton of folks tell me that they would love for me to cover their questions on the podcast, so I'm going to do it. So each week I will be adding a couple of questions that I'm going to answer to each of the podcasts. And if it's a juicy enough question, I just may dedicate a whole podcast to it. So if you're interested in asking a question, head on over to my website at drjkrausnd.com. Check out a blue button on the right-hand side that says Ask a Podcast Question. Hit me up there. Or you can also access the button through my podcast notes, also on my website. So head on over there, ask me some questions. I look forward to answering them soon. All right, let's get on with the podcast.
Hey, Health Junkies! It's time for The Health Fix. Join your host, Dr. Janine Kraus, as she gives you a dose of what you need to know and do right now to take control of your health from the inside out, to rebel against aging, look damn good, fight stress, and laugh every day.
Hello there, Health Junkies. Welcome to another episode of The Health Fix. I'm your host, Dr. Janine Kraus, and today's episode is all about the things that you need to think about before you start detoxing. So one of the biggest things in the springtime in my office, and pretty much probably every natural doc's office, is spring cleaning, spring detoxes, and it's a huge moneymaker. It is a big deal. People get all hyped up about it. But the problem I have with it is that so many people will be talking about how they're going to do a detox, but then they're also like, yeah, and the week before my detox, I'm going to Vegas, I'm going to get all drunk, I'm going to party, I'm going to eat shit food, it's going to be awesome, and then I'm going to go detox, and then after that, I'm going to go and re-tox, meaning, and that's my word, meaning they're going to just turn right around after they just did a detox and go and hammer their bodies full of all kinds of junk. It's probably one of my biggest pet peeves, and the reason being is because holy cow, detoxing is one of those things that it's kind of like what I look at as a lifestyle to help to clean your body out, and not as like a challenge, which is my other pet peeve, is all the challenges out there, like the yoga challenge and the squat challenge and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what do you do after these challenges to keep yourself healthy? And really today it's all about what do you do after you detox to keep yourself healthy, and are you even healthy enough to do a detox? Because unfortunately I see a ton of people who aren't pooping, who aren't peeing like they should, not drinking enough water. Where do you think those toxins are going to go if you're not moving your bowels and you're not urinating properly? I don't know. Gonna get stuck in your fat tissue, and you're just gonna build things up. And so then you'll go through your detox, and then you're gonna go have your pizza and beer is that like next day as soon as you're done with that detox, and guess what? You're just gonna keep building up toxins, which sucks. And I see this over and over again in my office, and it just makes me sad. And so I am wanting to talk all about how we can rejuvenate our health, yes, using some detoxes, but also really working on our immune system, our innate immunity, that basic foundation that keeps us healthy. Because not only is keeping yourself clean and eating clean and all those different things important, but it's also important to make sure that you have the right nutrients so you can constantly be detoxifying. So I think a lot of us think about a detox as like it's the only time we can clear things out of our body. That's not true. You want to always be clearing stuff out of your body. So you want to make sure that you have enough nutrients to make sure that you can constantly clear things out of the body. All right. So let's think about this a little bit here. So I have a lot of folks that come into my office, and they might be long distance runners, they might be super healthy and fit, but I touch their muscles in their skin and it just feels so hard and brittle and non-mobile. Those individuals are going to struggle to detox. Folks who are in chronic pain have issues with nerves, so chronic nerve types of pain, you're going to have trouble detoxing. And then, of course, like I mentioned before, the folks who are not pooping, not drinking enough water, that's going to be a struggle as well. And I tend to find that a lot of my high energy fit folks sometimes have some issues with pooping and peeing properly. So, things to keep in mind. So what is it that we need to be able to detoxify properly? We need to have enough magnesium in our life. We need to have enough vitamin E, we need enough vitamin C, we need enough zinc, vitamin B6, and B5. And a lot of us might be eating super healthy, but we might not be absorbing those nutrients. I don't know how many people that come into my office and they look healthy, they look fit. One, I touch their tissue, things look a little bit different, like I just mentioned, but also I run some labs and I'm shocked by how poor absorption they have of nutrients. I find that they're deficient in all kinds of different things. And that's a problem. That means you are not getting nutrition from the foods that you're eating. So if I'm going to put you through a detox, you don't have the cofactors to detox effectively. Now, granted, anybody who is going to clean up their diet for a week and eat healthier and get more veggies and fruits in, it's going to feel better. Hands down. And you're going to feel a lot more fresh and alive and more energy. But the problem is if you don't have what's known as cofactors, the proper nutrients to be able to detoxify effectively, you're not getting a proper detox. You're robbing yourself of it. In fact, you might be wasting some money flat out, depending on what kind of detox program you're doing. So going back to basics, one of the big things that I highly recommend for a lot of my patients, if we have issues where I feel like your tissue is sticky and not healthy, or I feel like you're dehydrated, I feel like you're not going to the bathroom like you should, I'm going to go back and check all of your nutrients, so your vitamins and minerals. There's two ways that I do this in my office. One is that I'll use the Nutri-Eval test by Genova Diagnostics, or I will use SpectraCell, which is a company that looks at your white blood cell amounts of your minerals and vitamins. And I personally love the SpectraCell test a lot just because it's looking at white blood cells and looking at that compared to red blood cells like the Genova test does. However, the Nutri-Eval is a little bit more expanded because they're looking at all of the breakdown products of your food to look at how do you process proteins, carbs, and fats. So in my office, I'll either do that or I'll do the SpectraCell test for the vitamins and minerals and add on something called organic acids testing. And that tells you about your metabolite breakdown as well. So you could do a combo of that with the SpectraCell one, or you could do the Genova Nutri-Eval testing all in one kind of kit there too. So there's two ways to look at it. But I find it really important because a lot of us, we're throwing money at these cleanses that we buy in a box. And I'll admit, we sell cleanses in a box here at my office because sometimes it's just easier for folks to do things that way, or it's like an entry-level way to get into detoxing. But I have to be completely honest with you, to really, truly get into detoxing, you need a detox specialist. I'm fortunate to know a gal that I adore dearly. Her name is Jay Munes, and she has a website, fearful2fit.com. You should check her out. She is a great gal. She does online consults, but she also sees people here in my office in Tacoma. And she's just amazing in terms of helping coach you through a good detox. So one of the big things that I always get asked in my office is, okay, if I do a detox, how do I know it's effective? That's a very, very valid, good question. And typically, the way to know if you are detoxing properly is to get some labs before and after. And so I mentioned the nutrients and the vitamins and mineral labs, but also I like to look at a basic metabolic panel. So this is through your blood. It looks at your liver enzymes. It looks at how your kidney's functioning. And then we retest it afterwards. I also like to look at cholesterol levels. Now, am I going to be able to drop your cholesterol levels in 1 week of a detox? No. But if you're working on a detox program for a couple of months and getting your body to effectively detox day in, day out, that's where you're going to get some great results. Now, this is where a detox specialist can be helpful, because now if you're doing one of the primer detoxes, meaning you're bringing yourself down to eating vegetables and fruit and going for a week on a detox protocol there, or maybe you go for 2 weeks, maybe you go for 3 weeks, so you're doing a primer detox, then at that point you can get your body to detox all day, every day, so that you're not building back up toxins and building back up cellulite. In the case of a lot of folks, you're not getting your skin to be all sticky and gross. So something to think about here, big time. Now, one of the other things I like to talk about when I'm talking about detoxing is I really like to highlight some of the foods that you can be eating to prep yourself for a detox. So thinking about like the pre-detox so that you're getting all the nutrients in. Like I said, the magnesium, vitamin E, vitamin C, zinc, B6, B5. B5, by the way, is pantothenic acid. So vitamin E rich foods. So we're talking almonds, we're talking spinach, sweet potato, avocados, sunflower seeds, butternut squash. Yummy stuff here and easy to incorporate into your life. Vitamin B6. This is a lovely little bugger in terms of a lot of help with processing fatty acids and helping with detox. And when I say it's helping with detox, it's because these vitamins and minerals, so magnesium, zinc, B6, B5, vitamin E, these guys are crucial for helping you to create something called glutathione. This is your body's natural janitor. Vitamin C is also extremely crucial for creating your natural janitor, glutathione. And so having as much of the cofactors, so nutrients in the body, to help you to detoxify more effectively prior to jumping into a detox is huge. So vitamin B6, it is in grass-fed beef, it's in turkey, it's in pistachios, tuna, pinto beans, avocado, blackstrap molasses, sunflower seeds again, and sesame seeds. And you're going to find that I'm going to be on repeat talking about seeds a lot here because a lot of the seeds are absolutely amazing for our vitamins and minerals. Zinc, for example, pumpkin seeds, yum, really rich in zinc. Those guys are amazing. Dark chocolate has zinc, garlic, sesame seeds, already mentioned them with vitamin B6. Watermelon seeds, seems weird, but you can actually eat those suckers. You don't have to spit them out. So if you are annoyed by eating a piece of watermelon because there's all those seeds in there, just chew them suckers up. Okay, don't do that. You need to toast them a little bit. You need to get them moving. Fresh watermelon seeds could give you a bellyache. Don't listen to me. No, really, it's you probably should spit them out. So, public service announcement, spit your watermelon seeds out, toast them a little bit, then re-eat them. And then squash seeds, so any pumpkin seed kind of thing there too. So I just mentioned pumpkin seeds, but you could also eat the seeds of all of the varieties of squash out there, like from spaghetti squash to, I don't know, delicata squash. Save your seeds, make some good, lovely treats. Don't throw that stuff away. Chickpeas have a ton of zinc. It's really cool. They're yummy. Vitamin B5, pantothenic acid here. This is a great vitamin. High in chicken liver. Most of us are not eating that unless we're getting real fancy with some of our appetizers. But sunflower seeds again, so seeds. Salmon, avocados. I've mentioned avocados a couple times. Sun-dried tomatoes, corn, broccoli, mushrooms, cauliflower, and yogurt. Lots of good pantothenic in those guys. So that's just a little bit of how you could be getting in these nutrients on the regular. Vitamin C, super elevated in kiwi and oranges. Everyone knows kind of about that one, but bell peppers also, and dark leafy greens. So I've mentioned all those different things. Are those things that you eat daily? Some people, not so much. Some people, yes. One of the things to think about with seeds is seeds are nutrient rich, but they're hard to break down. A lot of times the covering around the seeds can be irritating to the gut. So I'm telling folks, make sure you sprout them or buy them sprouted, and you can digest them a heck of a lot better and get the nutrients that you need. That is one of the biggies, is making sure that you're able to absorb these nutrients, making sure that your gut is healthy for absorption. If you have gas, you have bloating, you have leaky gut, you got to go back to the basics and work on your gut lining to make sure that you're absorbing nutrients properly. You need probiotics, those beneficial bacteria. All that stuff is crucial to be able to have the nutrients to be able to detox. All right, so I think I've probably overkill on that one. Next big issue that I find with a lot of folks is they're not pooping. And if you're not pooping, you are going to recycle hormones, you're going to recycle toxins, all kinds of stuff you don't want staying in the system. The other big issue is lymphatic congestion. Do you have lymph nodes that are swollen? Are they backed up? Do you have chronic lymph node swelling in multiple areas of your body. That means that you might have infections that your body's not dealing with. And most of the time it's kind of herpes infections, things of that nature. And I'm not just talking about the herpes infections that cause cold sores. I'm also talking about ones that cause the lesions below the belt. The other biggie is human papillomavirus, warts. Do you have warts on the regular? Do you have plantar's warts? Do you have warts on your fingers? Do you have vaginal warts? I don't know. It sounds gross, but this means that your immune system is struggling. And so if you try to detoxify a struggling immune system, this is a problem. You need those minerals on board. You also need a really great innate immune system because you're going to make yourself weaker if you're trying to push that detoxification. But you're also going to cause an issue because all of that toxic stuff from your body, so heavy metals like mercury and all of that kind of stuff hangs around for a long time. And our lymphatic system, so this is all of our, they're like vessels in between our arteries and our veins. This lymphatic system carries fats for us, but it also helps with white blood cells. It has a bunch of white blood cells in it that kill viruses, bacteria, any agents that come in the body that shouldn't be there. Molds. I see over and over again that a lot of people have different families of molds, such as yeast in particular, that are causing problems with them day in, day out. And you're not going to be able to detoxify if you have a infection that you're dealing with on the low level, chronic. So chronic infection. I have a ton of patients that have chronic Epstein-Barr virus, and I've talked about it in previous podcasts. And this is an issue. And I do think it's important for a lot of people to kind of know if they have chronic lymph nodes swollen in their neck and maybe there's one that keeps popping out and it's bugging them. I think it's important to know if you have reactivated mono, especially if you're super fatigued all the time. Really important stuff here. Also to know if you're stressed out, because having chronic infections and being stressed out can impede your ability to detoxify, but it's also going to be setting you up for autoimmune disease. And I've talked about that in my previous podcast. Now, another biggie that I have seen with folks is difficulty losing weight, but also being really swollen, kind of puffy, like the hands are swollen at the end of the day, they've got the sock marks at the end of the day, or they're chronically feeling like their rings are tight. This is a problem. This means you've got some inflammation going on in your body. Your body's holding on to water weight from irritation. And we don't necessarily know why. Sometimes it could be because sodium balance is off. Your body is always going to have water following where sodium's going. And if you're holding sodium in your tissues, you're going to be keeping water with that sodium. If you have an adrenal issue where you're in fight or flight mode on and off, and you're kind of stressed out, your body will tend to hold a little bit more sodium in this case. So I'm kind of going off target here, but just wanting to make the point that it's important to think about all of the factors that lead up to detoxing, and then not treating it like it's a challenge, treating it like it's a lifestyle. You want your body to be detoxing all the time on a low level so that you're effectively clearing all this crap that we're getting exposed to. I mean, this is crazy stuff, but let me tell you this. In 2012, the World Health Organization wrote a report about chemicals in our body and the endocrine disruptors. And so what this means is these are ones that mess with our hormones and our ability to reproduce, our ability to have proper metabolism, our ability to feel full, our ability to lose weight, gain weight, our ability to have diabetes, learning, memory difficulties, all these different things. And the report shows that, unfortunately, exposure to all of these chemicals are showing up in the cord blood of unborn children. Well, born children, I guess I should say, because that's the only time you're going to get a hold of that cord blood is after they're born. But babies are born into our universe with more toxins than ever. And of course, that means that moms are more toxic than ever. And the evidence for adverse reproductive outcomes like infertility, cancers, malformations from exposure to these endocrine disrupting chemicals is so strong that we have over and over again, we're seeing people with thyroid issues, with metabolic issues. Just look at the people around you when you go out to the grocery store and mall. We're getting bigger and bigger. There's a problem there. We're not all fat sloths. It's an issue. We have issues with our environment. So the point being here, I guess over and over again, I'm trying to hammer it down, is that I really want folks to be thinking about detoxes in terms of, okay, a detox is like a reset, and it's a primer for you to help your body to keep detoxing all year round. I do 2 detoxes a year, hands down, always. But my goal is that after I'm done detoxing, I'm not going to go out and have pizza and beers and re-toxify myself as much as possible. I want that effect to keep going. Yes, I will treat myself with different things like pizza and snacks, but I'm not going to go and think of it like, okay, 1 week or 2 weeks a year, I'm going to eat so clean and be so good to my body, then I'm going to beat it up the rest of the year. No, the idea is I'm going to eat clean, I'm going to take care of myself for 2 weeks out of the year to do a good, proper detox, and then after that, I'm going to work with my body to keep it detoxing so that the overall load of chemicals and viruses and all that stuff can be cleared effectively. And so, yes, I am going to be healthy all year round. So keeping that thought in. Now, another biggie that I already mentioned before is the stressful lifestyle that keeps your blood sugar up and down like a roller coaster. Blood sugar can be a big issue. When you're stressed, your blood sugar goes up. And the reason being is because caveman style here, if you have a threat like a bear chasing you, you need to run away from it, and you better have some sugar in your blood to be able to get away from that bear. Now, that's not really effective if you don't have a bear that you have to run away from. It's like this imaginary bear that's stressing you out. So combine that with poor diet choices in the morning, and now you've got double elevated blood sugar. The more the blood sugar goes up, the more the immune system is compromised. Now, the other big issue is that when sugars go up and they're in the bloodstream for too long, they're going to rip the sides of the arteries a little bit because they're corrosive. And now we're going to have the ability for the cholesterol to go into those arteries and plaque in those arteries and clog them over time. Now, I'm not here to scare you. I'm just trying to explain how this stuff happens over and over again in the body and why we end up with the issues that we do. And what does this mean when I'm talking about detox? Well, what this means is I also try to work into detoxes a stress detox, because I think a lot of us will do these 2-week detox challenges, but we're not thinking in a holistic type of manner in terms of if you just keep yourself stressed day in, day out, and you're not taking a break from your stress, you're not de-stressing, you're not detoxing from stress. Now we have a whole nother issue. You're kind of working against yourself. So what's the point of doing a detox if you're not going to work on your stress? Because I almost think that more than anything, the combination of stress and then the beating up on our immune system and then all the toxins that are building up might possibly work in that order. Stress, weak immune system, toxins, 1, 2, 3 as being the number 3 things that are eventually going to take us down. So, not because I want to be doom or gloom. Let's turn this mood up a little bit here. Sorry, I don't like to get into doom and gloom, but I like people to think about things. And that's really why I love doing this podcast, is because it's like a big public service announcement to get people thinking and thought process around things. Because I think it's unfortunately super trendy to do detoxes, but I don't even think most people know why they're doing a detox or what the implications are. And I don't think a lot of people know that they can detox all year round with making sure they have the proper nutrients to keep the detox going. So let's think about this for a minute right now, because another really popular thing right now is the bulletproof coffee and the ketosis diets and the intermittent fasting. Now, a lot of people will start that and they'll be like, oh my God, I feel so amazing. Well, it's because in the morning, if you're fasting or you're doing the bulletproof coffee or you're doing a ketosis-based diet where you're eating a higher fat food and you're not eating any carbs, you're not allowing an increase in your blood sugar even further than where it already is. So let's think about it this way. How many of you get up in the morning and you're rushed? You're already like taking time to get out of bed, you can't figure out what you want to wear, then on top of that you're like quick getting your coffee in, and then you're running to get to work where you're stressed out because it's a deadline for something, or maybe work in general just stresses you out. that's going to keep your blood sugar up. So if you eat a donut and then you have a coffee with that and some sugar in your coffee, you're not doing yourself any favors, because the caffeine is going to amp you up more. Then you're going to have the blood sugar going up from that lovely donut. And then what? Then you're going to crash hard later. And so changing it over to having the bulletproof coffee, where you have coffee and you're not putting sugar in it, you're putting in MCT oil, which is liquid coconut oil. You're giving yourself good fats in the morning to counter the blood sugar spike. Now, I personally have some issues with coffee and caffeine and how it affects your body. So I'm one of those folks in terms of things going, well, you could do an herbal tea with some MCT oil and then go into your day. I love holy basil. In the morning with MCT oil, it is a good bulletproof adrenal regulator, because holy basil cuts cortisol levels. It chills you out. So if you're wanting to do a bulletproof coffee kind of concept, but not doing so well with the coffee, or you're really stressed out, you know that coffee doesn't do your gut any favors. And by the way, folks, I can take coffee out of someone's world and their gut does a heck of a lot better, especially if they're dealing with chronic acid reflux, chronic diarrhea, gut inflammation, leaky gut. Coffee is a problem. Unfortunately, it's delicious stuff for a lot of people, and a lot of people are super addicted to it, but it's not the best thing in the world for us on a daily basis. So keep that in mind. Now, ketosis diets, eating the good fat in the morning and nothing else, great, because you're not spiking your blood sugar anymore. That's why people feel great on this. Fasting, most folks who feel nauseous in the morning, it's because they have high blood sugar in the morning, because they're stressed out. And usually what's going to happen is they're going to add to that stress because they can't find what they're going to wear. They're not organized enough. They don't have a system in the morning to get out the door. They just kind of willy-nilly do their stuff and then end up 10 minutes late to work and stressed out even more because their boss is on them about being late. Well, these kind of folks that don't eat in the morning and maybe grab like a granola bar or a cereal bar on the way in, or eat a banana, are not doing themselves any favor, because they're spiking that blood sugar up even further, and then they're going to crash later in the day. When our blood sugar gets too high, we end up impairing our immune system. We end up having trouble with weight, because we're going to gain weight from having that blood sugar elevated, and then we're going to have clogging of the arteries eventually. This is the process of how it happens. Right now, you might be young, it might not be happening that much, but hey, this stuff happens, starts when we're young and keeps going. So something to think about here. I'm trying to keep y'all healthy for life here. And so I'm not a fan of any particular diet. I really want people to eat real food. In terms of intermittent fasting, if you are nauseous in the morning, I don't have any problem with folks not eating till when they're hungry. And usually that's going to be about 11, 12, 1 o'clock or something of that nature. And that's when your cortisol levels are actually going down. I'm cool with that. Now, of course, if you have more stress in the afternoon, you might want to think about that in terms of what you're going to eat. A lot of times my go-to for the stressed individual is making sure that you're eating good amounts of protein and fat and a little bit of carb in the morning, and same thing at lunchtime, and then dinner having more carb, because you need a little bit more carb overnight to help you with sleeping, because it boosts your serotonin. I'm actually a huge fan of a 4 o'clock snack that's just a carb, just a piece of fruit, because that's going to help you to boost your serotonin on its own versus having like a turkey, because we all are brainwashed that turkey boosts tryptophan and helps us to be relaxed. Well, that's true, but those proteins sometimes in the turkey can overpower it, and so it's nice to get in just a straight carb sometimes and get the body to use that. And yeah, you might get a little spike in sugar from that straight carb, but it'll at least give you a spike to get you into the rest of the evening, and then off you go. Now, of course, if your evening is your time when you're most stressed, okay, let's rethink that and go to a good fat type or protein type of snack in the afternoon, and then put your carb in the evening. So just something to think about there. One of the other things that I like to, tell patients in my office, but makes me kind of laugh. You guys seen that commercial for Dunkin' Donuts? America runs on Dunkin'. Oh man, coffee and donuts, people. That is what is going to take America down. Stressed out folks drinking more coffee and eating their donuts. Crap, not good for you. Not good at all. So we've talked a little bit about the connection with blood sugar going up with cortisol levels being elevated. And so I don't want people to hate on cortisol. Cortisol is the hormone that's released from your adrenal glands, so your fight or flight glands. And it literally wakes us up and puts us to bed. That's its main job. But it goes up and down if we're stressed, and it can be on a roller coaster all day long. And the problem about it is that it can really mess with us. And one of the things I think everybody should know is what your fasting blood sugar level is. If I could give every single person a glucometer, I would, so that they could wake up and test their blood sugar and see how high it goes. It's huge for knowing what's happening with their body. Absolutely huge. The other big thing that I think everybody should know is their fasting hemoglobin A1C level. This is like a snapshot over about 3 months of your blood sugar. And I think it's hugely important information for us to know how we are responding to stress. Insulin levels, also huge, something that I think all of us should check out. And you can ask your primary docs to look at this for you, or there's so many companies now online that you can get lab testing. It's incredible, all of the different options out there. But I do think it's important to know your insulin levels. I do think also it's important to know your growth factor levels too. So all kinds of stuff out there to ward off having issues, but also knowing if stress is causing an issue with your blood sugar. Because stress causes some weird symptoms, like the drops and spikes of blood sugar. I mean, we have fainting, we have trembling, we have fatigue, we have increased urination, we have headaches. I mean, a lot of people will come into my office and say that they have these hypoglycemic events, meaning their blood sugar drops, and then they've got to stuff in a bunch of sugar to get their blood sugar back up. Well, they're creating themselves a roller coaster problem. This is not something that you want to be happening at all. And part of the biggie with blood sugar in particular, and when I see people having low blood sugar issues, is that they probably don't have enough magnesium in their diet. And magnesium is kind of one of the most amazing minerals. It helps to relax us, but it also helps to get carbohydrates into your cells. And a lot of people over and over again, I'll see with testing, they don't have enough magnesium to be able to carry out metabolism of carbohydrates, so blood sugar, so glucose. So you're not getting your sugars into your cells for energy. That's a problem. That is a huge problem, because if you have all this blood sugar elevated because you're stressed, and then on top of it, you can't even get it into your cells for your cells to use it for energy, now that's mega storage of the carbohydrates, and big issue here. So magnesium, spinach, Swiss chard, the dark chocolate, pumpkin seeds, almonds, black beans, avocado, yogurt or kefir, bananas, those guys all have magnesium in it. And I recommend magnesium for my patients hands down as one of the most basic nutrients that you need in life. And it's also a cofactor, like I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, for production of glutathione so that you have the right nutrients to be able to detoxify. So in this case right now, I've kind of talked about all the nutrients you need to detox. I've talked about why detoxing is important, but I've also talked a little bit about the stress component. And the stress component might be one of the most important things. Detoxing from stress, which is sounds like a weird concept, but it's something that you need to get a hold of, because if your blood sugar is wildly up and down, up and down, up and down, your immune system's going to be off. You're going to have difficulty fighting off infections, and in particular, chronic infections, because a lot of us do have chronic viral infections, low level, all the time, that are just kind of floating around, and then they spike when we're stressed. Anybody ever had shingles? Anybody had a herpes outbreak when they're stressed? That's why. I've just explained it in terms of your blood sugar goes up because you're stressed, your immune system goes down, and boom, those viruses that are just waiting to reap their ugly heads just take over. And so if you're in this situation and you're wanting to do a detox, I highly recommend either getting some testing to know where your cortisol is, where your minerals are at, and how your body is I guess basically the status of how your body's functioning. So like I said before, this is something that you can do through Genova's Nutri-Eval testing, or you can do testing in terms of SpectraCell, which looks at the vitamins and minerals in your white blood cells, and combine that with an organic acids test, which looks at metabolism in particular. And that combination is a great way to kind of know both statuses before you jump into a detox that you don't even know if you're going to be able to detox effectively if you have the vitamins and minerals to do so. And then, of course, like I've mentioned before in this podcast, that it's really important to have those vitamins and minerals up and be eating at least a good whole foods diet. I mean, yeah, you can totally have your pizza here and there. You can drink your alcohol here and there. You can have your junk food here and there. It's just don't make like a daily habit of it. That's not going to help you at all. It doesn't help anyone. So all that being said, that's kind of my plan. And I have put together a proposal in terms of phase 1, 2, and 3 to help keep you healthy for life and regenerate your body so that when you detox, you really do clear out stuff, and you can keep detoxing day in, day out, and not thinking about a detox as this challenge, thinking about it as a lifestyle, and that your body needs this to keep it healthy. So my phase 1 is really to fix the digestive system, get the lymphatic system moving. Phase 2 is to kill bugs and boost your immune system. And phase 3 is all the different components of staying healthy. And I've included every single one of these phases in my podcast notes on my website at docjkrausend.com. I'm also planning to put together a free maybe an ebook. I don't know. I'm thinking about something. Maybe I'll do a YouTube video. I might do a YouTube video. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. But I do want to do something that I can help you to really get phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 linked together to be able to help you to detox for life and keep your body super healthy all the time. Then you can add your big detoxes for twice a year. And on top of that, you'll be able to effectively clear out the body. So go over to docjkrausend.com and look at my podcast notes for this podcast, episode 68. It will show you all the details in terms of phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 of getting your body to effectively detox and keep it going for life. If you're looking for some help in detoxing, I highly recommend you check out my friend Jay Munes. She is at fearful2fit.com. She does private consults online to help folks to really work on keeping their body detoxing and staying healthy for life. So, you have survived another episode of The Health Fix. I'm your host, Dr. Janine Kraus. Keep thinking about those things that help you to detox, and stay tuned for my next episode. Have a great day, whatever you're doing. Thanks for tuning in to The Health Fix, the podcast all about taking control of your health, rebelling against aging, and having fun every day. A lot of patients ask me, do you think I'm aging too fast? So, I created an evaluation checklist for you to see for yourself. Plus, I created a resource guide to help you slow down the aging process right now. You can find it for free on my website, drjkrausend.com. If you like this podcast, help get the word out to others by liking it and rating it. If you'd like more natural health tips and want to join our Facebook community where I interact daily, click on the Join Group button on our website at drjkrausend.com.